I'm Mr. Rosansky, and this is a speed run of practice test 6, the second module, the B module, the easy one. We have nothing to fear about this. Not that we ever have anything to fear, but let's get to our first conventions question and get started. On this conventions question, I see the lovely poppage of the omega convention for verb. I see a both, I see a neither, I see a neither, and I see a neither. I can bias the odd man out and go looking for a reason why. This for you would just be a read, a vibe, and a plug in. For me, I'm going to do a little bit better. I know that I need a verb that tells me when because a clause needs one of those suckers. Showing never tells me when, and this associated is a reduced passive that are associated with body size. This is describing genes. The rest of these don't tell me when, and they're trashed. Too easy. On to the next conventions question. Omega. What pops? Verb. Again, I've got a both, I've got a neither, I've got a neither, and I've got a neither. So I can bias the odd man out, but I should go looking for a reason. Land used his technology to invent the world's first camera. We could, again, your vibes are going to be this, and I think your vibes will take you to A because you're going to recognize exactly what you might have recognized the last one, which is a complete sentence, an independent clause. We need a verb that tells me when, and to invent, an infinitive never does, and that's why the rest of these falls. The same thing back to back. That's why it's fun to know why certain times. It allows you to engage beyond your little ear. Pronouns seem to be popping in this one. I've got a plural, I've got a singular, I've got a singular, and I've got a singular. I'm going to bias the odd man out, but I'm obviously going to go looking for an antecedent, that which, the who or what that the pronoun refers to. The utensil seems to be my antecedent. Condemned the eating utensils because he considered eating utensils to be dangerous. This guy had it out, looking out for all of us, especially his people. That's going to be the right answer. I'm going to pick this, move on to the next one. I've got a omega convention pop for verb. I've got a plural, I've got a plural, I've got a plural, and I've got a singular. So I'm going to bias the odd man out, but go looking for a reason to pick something. Subject, using. Using, the entire subject is using one of these non-copyrighted songs, but we'll just smack the using. Using is singular. Using ensures a creator won't lose advertising revenue. Absolutely. I've got another omega convention. Can we zoom in a little bit more? Let's give that for the people in the back. We've got an omega convention popping for punk. Just kidding. Possession is going to be it. I can fight my fight right here. I know that hands is not going to be possessing between because between is a prepositional phrase. Possessing a prepositional phrase is making hands possess a prepositional phrase, which is so disgusting. And then if we were to cut through it even more, A and C are making antennas possess nothing. So I don't even have to juggle too much right here. I love that as a simple explanation. Conventions, another one. What's going to pop here? The omega convention is going to be the complete sentence mix-up, and let's label our guys accordingly. I've got a lonely. I don't got no loneliness in my heart. I have my sweetheart, but A's got the lonely comma, B has the lonely coordinating conjunction, C has the beauty that I've got my eyes on, and D is the space arena tenderino. Then I can go looking for something to find a complete sentence on either side. So let's do that. I can just read, and most of you would want to be able to put a period right there, one such type of matter. This is my subject and this is my verb. This isn't telling me when. That's just chilling. And then on the right side, famously used, I've got another independent clause on the right. Two complete sentences can't be joined by these trash choices. So I'm going to pick this and move on. We're on the transitions. We're out of our fun section. We'll start here. They also love cats. They created an award cat video game. Shout outs to cats. I know this is going to be so much so is what I want to put here, and that aligns with in fact. Logical transition. In most deer species, males grow antlers and females don't. Reindeers be built different. So we've got a most kind of statement of these things. Reindeer are different in this instance. So we've got contrast of sort, 22. I'm going to land on C. Logical transition. Nestor, we've got kind of a call for sequence. His first ever seems to be a call for sequence. And then we have an explanation for this over here. I've got sequence on the right. A later time created the show as a platform for it. I think I just have a simple sequence development here. And I've got a later, which is absolutely what I'm looking for. This is after this. The rest is trash. It's not an exemplification. Move on. I see him chilling over here somewhere in the center of the sentence, so I'll move him to the start, make sure that this is the position where you're going to move your transition word. Historians agree that Jelly Roll Morton was exaggerating when he claimed to have invented jazz music. But even though, so I know it's going to be contrast, even though they agree that he was exaggerating, no one can deny that he was dope and shaped it. Absolutely. 24 is going to be contrast. We can zoom out one tick so that we can see everything in front of us. I want to present the study and its findings. The study and its findings. I'm going to fight which other fight is usually this concept of its findings are easier. Given the debate about the age, researchers conducted a study. This doesn't have the findings. This is kind of like the aim, what they were setting out to do. A study revealed, I love this word of reveal, indicating this is a good look. The Vinland map, believed by some to have been drawn was the focus of the study. No, this doesn't even have the findings. Aware that a certain titanium compound was not used in inks until the researchers studied the elemental composite. We don't have a result here, so this has to be it. The study wants to emphasize a difference between the two approaches to dyeing blue jeans. A difference between the two approaches. A difference between the two approaches. Though created using a different process, I guess that's a difference. Raised dye contain the same ingredients. Then it focuses on a similarity, but I guess it starts with a difference. I guess this cellulose is a plant. This is a definition structure. This is a definition structure. Syntax. False. The traditional approach to dyeing blue jeans is to dip them in a solution containing, that gives me just one thing. I don't know about the other side. His approach substitutes a natural plant-based substance for the hazardous. This seems to give a difference between the two approaches. Let's make sure it's true. Does this guy, without chemicals, absolutely. Plant-based, it's all true. For the hazardous yeah, they use, I would imagine they're throwing shade. This helps me inform there. So this doesn't really state a difference. It's not emphasizing anything. In fact, it seems to be focusing on similarity. I'll pick it and move on. Emphasize the aim of the research study. This is a result found. Get out of my face. Or sought to determine. That is some beautiful research aim language. Tourist study revealed that blue whales were attracted to offshore waters. No, that seems to be an examples or the results studied. This seems maybe methodology. That all falls. Nothing gave me the aims. What does trace most nearly mean? No landing to be made, no trace of their passing to be left. Nobody found them, no evidence. You crashed, but no dents. You left no evidence. On the next one, the works are now, where's my signal element? I guess it's going to be this contrast over here. She contributed to as members early. She contributed to, that doesn't give me anything. Were displayed. This is going to be it. The works are now featured in museums, but the things that she did then were displayed. Feature is going to be my choice there. Wow, right next to another but showed that the key was using the stones deliberately. The stones were accidental is going to be my choice here. Then I can look to this one. I don't see anything over there. This dash is going to exemplify this. He has a mild temperament. He was virtuous, so we're going to look to something to balance that out. He was overly permissive, so the vices of those around him were indulged. What's the function of the underlined sentence? Let's start here and fight our fight with this. Mary Beth, they search for life or evidence of life, evidence coming along here because the desert is like Mars and its roughness. Then we can start fighting our fight. Maybe, hopefully, we don't have to look around. That would suck if we had to, but whatever. To contrast the conditions in the desert with those on Mars, usually I would say that contrast is like the harsh one, and this seems to be expressing a similarity, but let's leave it on the table so we don't eliminate something that's possible. To explain why many life forms cannot survive, this doesn't explain why many life forms can't do that, because we're searching for life there, so we're making a reach elsewhere. To indicate why astrobiologists chose to conduct research in the why she chose, why? Why did they want to conduct research in the Atacama Desert? Because it was like the other ones. I really like this. So I'm going to take A off the table. The contrast is like that they're different, but the word mirrors is pointing me exactly that they're the same. So why did you want to choose to conduct research here? Because it mirrors the environment closely. What are the limitations? No, there's not a limitation. It's just like Mars, which is awesome. What's the overall structure of the text? Let's find our first sentence, which is all of this yap. Let's see what we've got over here. In K, a language from SUS, this word means this thing, and this word means this thing. I'm going to type number changes because I saw like the singular and plural comments. Similarly, this, okay, so plural again, plural and singular again, and it seems to just be changing that after ip is added on. Okay. These are instances of SM, subtractive morphology, definition of that concept. This tech is all over the place. Okay. I've got it. Let's go. Describes the relationship between and several other languages. I don't have that. It identifies the most frequent occurring words. I don't remember it saying the frequency of that, and it certainly doesn't speak about why it's difficult to translate. It presents some specific words in Kasake. It definitely does that. Describes the general linguistic phenomena. It does do that, and then states that this phenomenon is frequently occurring. I like the way that 6C looks, but I'll keep looking. It explains the phenomenon of maybe. I think it's a little bit out of order. Discusses why it's been controversial. No, I've got nothing about controversy. This is the right answer. Have I been checking every single one? Good. Which source best describes what's happening? I don't know if this is an according to or based on. So we got time. The glow made for a pretty street. Street is nice, thought she. Lots of kids playing. Tag, girls be girlin'. Girls be girlin'. Okay, I guess that's it. Ludi's observing the appearance of a street at a particular time of the day. Yes, sunset. And the events occurring. Yeah, kids playing. I like this. This is what's happening in the text. I'll keep reading. Is annoyed by the noise. I don't have evidence for that. I don't know where you'd get that. Maybe you'd be reading in the storm, but its street is nice, Ludi thought. The street is nice in this light. Yeah, the street is nice in this light. This wouldn't be painting the negative view that this seems to be entailing. Ludi is puzzled by the rules. No. She says it's a complicated game of tag, but I think she can handle the rules of tag. Ludi spent time alone in her apartment because she doesn't want to interact with based take. D's the right answer. D's the right answer. It's got to be. Just kidding. Don't answer with your heart. Answer with the text. What's the main idea of this text? I'll start at the end, and then I'll start at the start. She, additionally, so this is a bunch of stuff that she did. She, whoever she is, she kept tickets low, which helped newbies enter theater. Maybe we could afford newbies enter theater. All right, let's work backwards. My first sentence is going to talk about she was made the leader. So this is her name. Hallie was made the leader. In the next sentence, FDR established this program during the Great Depression. Next sentence, as the leader, she did a ton of stuff for theater and then also theater for other people. So she was made the leader. This is kind of like a why. As the leader, she did a ton of stuff for theater. Additionally, she kept ticket prices low. We can engage. Jobs provided by the FTP were intended mainly for performance. No, this is kind of a negative thing. In fact, that final sentence shows that the FTP was really about helping everybody, even non-theater people. This is about the second sentence, way too narrow of the scope here. During the Great Depression, many people couldn't afford. That is a detail true of the very last sentence, but that signal element also shows that we're not just working to that conclusion. We're trying to show how base this lady is and all the stuff that she did. What was surprising to scientists studying the seismic activity data from the NASA InSight lander? So this is an according to based on question. We're looking for the concept of being surprised. Marsquakes. It shows that Marsquakes all started from the same location on the planet. This discovery was surprising to scientists. So this discovery, signal element kicks us back one. All started up from the same location on the planet. The surface temperature, nope. That does not mean they started on the same location. Different types of waves, no. Collected less data, no. All Marsquakes, yeah. What was surprising? They started from the same location. They started the discovery of surprises as they expected origin all over the planet. Exactly. Marsquakes, we're done with that one. We're trying to use data from the table to complete the statement. Annual car production from the United States in this year range. The students, according to the table, from 1910 to 1925, from 1910 to 1925. So this time goes down. As 1910 to 1925, cars produced is going up. All right. The number of cars produced increased. That's true. The number of cars produced increased, but the number of companies producing cars decreased. That's true. Landed on that one. I like it, but I'll check the other ones. 1910 to 1925. All we're speaking is descriptively about what's happening to the numbers. Okay. Both the number of cars produced. No, it's absolutely changed. The number of cars produced decreased. I just see the wording changed again. No, something changed. both the number of cars produced and the number of companies, both the number of cars produced and the number of companies increased. No, one increased, one decreased. A is the right answer. The bet most illustrates the claim. A banker is described as being very upset about something. Let's find some notion of being very upset about something. Then the banker cautiously broke the seals of the door and put the key into the keyhole. I mean, he was cautious, maybe. It struck 3 o'clock. The banker listened. Everyone was asleep in the house and nothing could be heard. This doesn't do anything that I want. The banker, spoilt and frivolous with millions beyond his reckoning, was delighted at this bet. So the banker is described as being very, this seems he's being thrilled, right? He's a bad guy, but he's thrilled. When the banker gets home, he lay on his bed, but he's absolutely upset of something. He's sad boy crying. So whatever I was reading into about A false. 411D is absolutely the right answer. I want to complete the claim. Where do be my claim? Dated each of the samples, concluding that are significant. What's the claim? Oh, I guess it's just the sentence itself. Researchers have analyzed, table, data, dated ages of lunar samples from select missions, okay? Researchers have analyzed and dated each of the samples, concluding that the lunar samples collected during the Changes 5's mission are significant because, all right, they are much younger than the samples brought back from any of the other ones. That is true, billions of years. So this is how old they are. So 3.6 is way older. No tricks about inverting anything. I appreciate that. And that's all the Apollo ones. They were collected from the same landing site as Apollo 11. That's not true. They were closest in age to the ones brought back in Apollo 17. That is absolutely not true. It's farthest in age. They helped confirm the predicted age of the lunar samples from the Apollo missions. How am I getting that? These are the dates. I don't think the chart supports that at all. So I'm going to kill him. Where would it even be getting that concept? Landing site, year, mission name, nothing. Complete the claim. The claim is, we'll read a little bit more. Yeah, no, this is garbage. D has nothing to do with this. Get out of my face, D. So we are on our final 2 questions. They seem to be tricky. I see science words popping out of me, and that's a little bit frustrating. What's going to be my research hypothesis? Hypothesis equals TMAO reduces the compressibility of water. That's going to be my hypothesis. What would support the researcher's hypothesis? I can't make a guess from this right now. I'm going to read a little bit more. TMO reduces the compressibility of water. I don't know. I'm going to read, because we're in the middle of a depending clause, so I'll go back to the start of the sentence. Studies have found a positive correlation between the depths that they inhabit and the concentration of TMO in their muscles. So at higher depths, so the higher the depths, as depth increases, this is how you have to package this. As depth increases, TMAO increases. So TMO reduces the current. I would expect more TMO in the deeper waters, I think, is what I would anticipate as I go looking. Water molecules are found to be impervious to TMO, even when the water molecules configuration. This is engaging with examination so that molecules retain the shape even as pressure increases. This one doesn't talk about water, which seems to be what I want to prove, but this is giving me some crazy statement about tetrahedrals. So I feel like I have to read a lot more for this question. So I'll make that concession, and I will go looking for wherever this is getting the water molecules nonsense. Tetrahedral. So under normal atmospheric pressures of Earth, water molecules, okay, normally, water moles make tetra, which are stabilized by hydrogen bonds. High pressure, such can be found in deep waters, destabilize the bonds, and compress water, which causes disaster. Yeah, deep sea organisms known as this have adapted. Studies have shown, okay. So the thing that I'm trying to prove, I have to reground myself. I'm just trying to prove that TMO reduces water compressibility. So water molecules are found to be impervious to TMO, even when the model has been distorted by high pressure. No. we're trying to show some sort of like strengthening relationship. If TMO AO had no effect even when it was distorted, this seems to like conflict with the researcher's hypothesis. I expect TMO retains their structure. This aligns with what my summary is. This aligns with this, but my hypothesis is that TMAO reduces the compressibility of water, and it doesn't give me straight up the relationship of TMAO to water, so I'm going to table him. A positive correlation is found between concentrations of TMO and the rate at which, I don't like the rate at which, but I'm going to keep reading, and the rate at which molecules are. So this is like speed, how faster and faster, and that doesn't, rate at which, get out of my face. Nothing that I summarized here is how fast it happens. Analysis of water's molecular structure under high pressure reveals that hydrogen bonds are more stable when TMAO is present than when it is not. Yes, TMO reduces the compressibility of water. What would I should have done this before I went back into the questions. What would have reduced water? What would be a sign of that? We would be looking for maintained tetras, more stable. Exactly. So between B and D, both do show like a positive relationship that seems to be great, and B would be a nice choice, but I'm trying to prove that TMO affects water's compressibility, and B just leaves that off the table. D gives it to me exactly as I want to read it, and then I'm on my final logically complete one. I'll start with the last sentence, and hopefully I can fight my fight there. It's not going to allow me. It's going to kick me back one, but I'm going to give it a summary so I never lose sight of what I want. His team has not been able to determine the crater's age, so it's like a when seems to be. So they suggest the when seems to be. However, we can go back one. The scientists who believe an impact caused the younger Dryas claim that this discovery supports their view. This is screaming to kick me back one, but I don't want to get confused. Grounding myself on this. They're saying it supports their view. However, we can't tell the age. All right, so let me try to get some off the table, and then we're probably going to have to read more. It can't be concluded that the impact that made the crater was connected to the beginning. I like the way that this sounds. It can't be determined whether a comet fragment could make a crater. No, B's going to fall. If it said, claim that this discovery supports the view. However, his team has not been able to determine if a crater could do this, right? If they thought the crater could be a certain age, yeah, this would be a different fight. They have to agree that a comet could, or else this final sentence would be something different, logically. Scientists have ignored the possibility that something other than a comet fragment. No, if they could confirm the age, then I think they would have an answer to the question. B and C are, gosh, the end of the text would be so different if it weren't the case. But we're going to table that. Knock it off the table. The scientists who believe an impact caused the younger Dryas have made an incorrect assumption about when the period began. Okay, so both of these are engaging with whens. I feel like I'm in a good spot. The scientists who believe an impact caused the younger Dryas have made incorrect assumptions about when the period began. So when did this? When the period began? I need like some when clues. As I work backwards, 2015, a team found a 19-wide glacier. Okay. Others disagree about no known. Yeah, so no known crater. I feel really good about my refutation there. From such an impact that dates to the beginning of that period. We're back to the first sentence. The Younger Dryas was a period of extreme cooling from 12 to 13 years ago. Who believe an impact causing it made about when the period began. No, they know when the period began. It's just what caused it. So this is wrong. It can't be concluded that the impact is what made. So they don't know the age of the crater, so they can't connect it to that 12 to 13 range until they have that answer. A is absolutely it, and that is our last one. What a gorgeous, calm, fun experience. Thanks for hanging out with me.